Hey everybody, Brad Linder back at you with another card of the day. Today I'm going to do the centerpiece for the Galactus card set. Going to take a second and share this over with the page so we can share it with the YouTube channel and the Facebook group as it goes along. So there we go, cool deal. Now I'm going to start jumping in right on this with Galactus. I'm going to be grabbing pencils and stuff as I go along real quick. So give me a second to grab those. They're right here. Got a fresh set going on for these just for tonight so that I can get them going. And I have to grab the two light purples right here. Here we go. Cool to go. All right. I'm going to start in with the undertone purple armor here. I think I'm going to go this route. Now I'm not going to make this as shiny as I could. I'm going to make it flat like a classic 80s style comic. Hey Rook, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. I like to do these sections like this without the white involvement because of the fact that, you know, when Kirby did this, there was very little white to it at all. So I wanted to make it reminiscent of that. Because it has a more dark red looking purple on the helmet, the gauntlets, things like that. But yeah, I just wanted to keep it really light and simple and really, really reminiscent of what he had going on with the original appearances of Galactus, because that's part of what makes him look the way he does, you know, is the nostalgia that Kirby put into it with modern artistic style. And that's what made it work so well throughout the years, because that design has barely and rarely changed. If you saw when I did this penciling for this piece, I talked a lot more about that. But, you know, like I said, it's one of those things where it's relative and every artist add their own twist to it. But for me, I prefer the classic Kirby style, so that's why we're getting this. But it's got a little bit of a more high-tech twist, as more artists are doing these days. I like to render it out to where it's a little more practical in the way that things are expected to be, you know, with the flash and stuff, effects and stuff like that. So I like to do it this way, but it's still same old Galactus, you know, it hasn't changed. I didn't modify it to where you can't recognize the character if you know the Fantastic Four and specifically this character. So, I mean, this is a dual card set. This is going to be a little bit richer than most of the stuff that I do with the single cards. I'm hoping to get it done here very quickly and not mess around too much so that we don't take up too much time. But I don't know how it's going to turn out just yet. You know, this is a fly by the seat of our pants type of thing where I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen just yet. But we're going to get there. We are going to get there. So now I'm switching over to this blue, and I'm going to get this going on this chest plate. This is coming off pretty quick, so hopefully I'll be able to knock this out in one go. I don't want to string it along for a couple of episodes on the show here, and I want to get everything ready to go for the sketchbook and with the webcomic ready to go finally. I'm not wanting to, you know, string this out. I want to get it moving, because it's a speed test for me in my new studies that I'm doing through these. I want to knock them out as productively as possible and professionally as possible while getting as much work packed into a 30 to 45 minute run at best to keep you guys in pocket with everything that I'm doing. So that's what I like to do on these, and I've been taking a little more leisure time to talk a little more and such, but I'm trying to get back to the pacing because this was started as an experiment for me as much as for entertaining you guys, it's been about getting this stuff done for my professional reach, on getting at expedite a lot faster. So, and I want to get this to look as it is supposed to. And, I constantly hear drama of, people saying, well, you can't do a page in a day. You can't, that's not the way indie press does, blah, blah, blah. And I've talked about that before, and I'm not going on the soapbox here. I'm just saying, it should be knocked out in a timely manner. I mean, we have the time to do so. It's just people don't want to push it because they want the paycheck. And me, I'm always pushing more and more. And with doing the Night of the Living Dead comic, the Catman Evolution comic, the Lone Rider comic, and whatnot, I have to be very cautious of that. Time is very precious to me, and it's a commodity that we don't have the luxury of wasting, any of us, and sometimes people do. But whatever works. I mean, whatever floats your boat's fine. It's just, for me personally, I would much rather see someone kick this out and get it done and have the fun of the process rather than having them, butt heads over little things like that. So I'm going to go into more of this purple here, but what I'm going to be doing, instead of going full on purple, I'm going to step over here and go with a maroon, and then I'm going to top it off with some purple. Actually, I'm going to use this awkward red, and then I'm going to go back over it with a purple, a darker purple, to give it that bronzed type of look. This isn't going to be a bronze color, literally, but it's going to be more of the Galactus type of red, crimson, purple type of gauntlet look that Kirby originally did, because sometimes it would show up really dark purple, sometimes it would show up maroon, and you never knew what it was going to show up from time to time. Of course, I think that was part of the expediency of the process of them trying to get done and still hold the similar color while being able to use whatever inks and colors they had around them at the time, because that's the way they would throw down. I mean, if it was close, that's what they did, because they wanted to use stuff that was available for that purpose. And I know this looks kind of funky at the moment, but like I said, I'm going to use this to offset these. I'm going to put more of a red tone to them, and we're going to knock it out that way. So bear with me here. I'm going to try and hit the center of this card without snagging it. Yay, we did it. Cool deal. All right, there's that big thumb there. Trying not to go over the major blacks. And like I said, I'm not coloring it wrong. I'm doing it on purpose, just to make the armor and the helmet just a little bit different. And like I said, it's going to add more of a dark maroon purple type of tone to it, instead of just the hardcore dark purple, which we can't see very well. I want it to pop. So the reason I'm doing that is so that it'll show up. And I want it to have a vibrance to it that it just won't have otherwise. So bear with me. We're going to get this done. People are going to be coming on going, it's not supposed to be red. I know. Bear with me, I know. You guys have seen me work this magic before, There's a lot to it. And mixing colors with these pencils is a little more diversified than just mixing it flat out with the markers. So that's the reason why I'm doing it that way. Okay. Sorry about that. I wanted to make sure you guys were getting to see all of this and it was fitting on screen. Now I'm working around the miniature figures here as we go along. And this is the Human Torch right here. They're all battling Galactus. And I've got this miniature, like I said, Johnny Storm, Human Torch, and that's why the red's more forgiving if it goes over just a bit, to make sure that I hit all the edges for Galactus, because Johnny's going to be colored into a different color set altogether. So we won't have to worry about that. But I am trying to keep this as clean as possible. Stay in the lines! So we're going to outline this just a little bit here. And I'm going to color this bad boy in. And when I color this down afterward, I have a blending pencil, which I'm going to take time and do off set, so you guys don't have to watch me do all that. I'll blend all this together and bring it in tight with these colors and make it all stand out. And I broke into a new set of colors here of pencils just for you guys and just for this particular project, because I wanted them to be fresh and clean and have good sharp points on them, which I've already about colored down this red one. So we don't have to worry about the transition of me taking the time to sharpen stuff as we go. I really love the Fantastic Four characters because of the fact, you know, not only are they one of the best legacies in comics, they have a cult following like no other comic book. I mean, even more than the X-Men, Spider-Man, whatever. You know, if you're a Marvel fan, you definitely have some competition in the best books that you like with the Fantastic Four, because these guys are insane. These followers are hardcore followers of these characters, and it is just nuts the way they go at it. I've seen a lot of things come out of, you know, even if you're not a movie fan for the Fantastic Four, there has never been one time that I have not been able to find some Marvel group with Fantastic Four fans in it. I mean, it's just not heard of. And I'm one of them. You know, if you don't like them, that's cool, but and please don't debate that on here, because that's not what this is for. But that fan base is freaking huge, man. There is no doubt about it. It is a massive, massive fan base. And I was addicted to these guys back when I was little. I have one of the original drinking cups of the Thing, and it's in one of the best conditions that I've ever seen. He still has the white and blue on his eyes, which has normally been picked off, and the handle is still intact. I mean, it's that kind of deal. There is a huge legacy for these characters, way above and beyond most of the others that are out there. I mean, even more so than, you know, Spider-Man or X-Men. But, you know, I mean, granted, the DC Comics fan following is a little bit bigger, you know, in comparison to like the Trinity, you know, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, they're on up there. But for Marvel in its own wheelhouse, these guys, Galactus and Fantastic Four, everybody knows who they are, and that's pretty much the one that they'll name off the top. If you ask them, you know, can you name so-and-so 10 Fantastic Four characters, and I guarantee you they'll name, 9 times out of 10, they'll name the Fantastic Four in that list. And I love seeing these characters in action, and I'm glad that they're back with Marvel. Even if DC is in charge, I mean, even if Disney is in charge of them, we'll see what happens with that whole deal now that they are. But maybe we'll get a good movie out of it. I like the original 2005, 2007 movies, but particularly that last one. If they didn't named it anything other than Fantastic Four, it would have been a great movie. But I mean, I like the movie for what it was, and it's an ultimate escape version. But if you're going to go with the films, I'm more traditional as far as that goes. But whatever works, whatever works. I love drawing these guys. This is one of the first hero sets that I drew after the Hanna-Barbera stuff when I got into comics. And I really, really love doing these characters. And I wish I'd have gotten to do them professionally, but it didn't work out that way. So, you know, it is what it is. But I got to do my own books, so still doing those, as you guys know, so we don't have to worry about that. But I love doing this for this set. It came out great, and I'm having a blast. I got a couple more on these to do, but I had to take a break from the Thundercat stuff a little bit, and I wanted to get something a little different, a little diverse, and mix it up a little bit. And I think that this particular piece is a great one for it. And whoever gets this one, when these go out to the public, I'm very pleased to know that this is going to be a nice piece that someone is going to be able to get, and it is going to be worth some money. Just because of the fact that I'm going to make sure of it with this one being a limited offset. It's one of the fan favorites, and it's going to be able to circulate around, especially since Marvel is closing out their comics this year to digital restriction only, and they're going to stop producing a lot of their stuff in print. So, you know, I'm looking forward to what comes out of it, because original pieces are going to be harder and harder to get, and it's going to be print on demand type stuff. So I mean, you're going to have to pay for it to get commissioned art anymore, because it's going to be all digital. So we don't know what's coming on. Hey Jim, thanks for coming on, man. Brian, I appreciate it so very much. Thank you. Now I'm going to go on with this darker purple. I'm going to kind of knock out this this armor set here. Now I know it looks funky, and it will at first, but like I said, I want it to have a different gradation to it. So we're going to be able to knock this out pretty quick. I'm digging it. So let's see what we can do here. A lot of people are saying that they wanted me to do this in Copics. Sorry, guys. You should have said something sooner. That's so funny. I'm getting like 30 private messages. Why didn't you do it in Copics, man? I don't know. I just wanted to do this in pencil. I don't know why. I just felt like it was something I wanted to do. A couple of people are upset apparently about that, but that's okay. You have the right to your opinion. That's all good. But as far as getting into coloring comics with pencils, it's pretty cool, man. I mean, these things are very forgiving. I use the Stradler set, and I like using them because they're very, very solid in color, and the flow is really, really cool. They blend down amazing, and they're a little more affordable than just your standard, you know, your standard stuff of whichever, you know, Prismacolor or whatever brand that you would primarily use. They do blend down very well. They are very forgiving. They are very solid, and I hardly ever have any problem with them. I mean, once in a while I'll get some feedback from the card itself, and it'll give me a little grief, but normally these things just pop off without any question. So they're doing that right now. So far, so good. And we'll be able to knock this out. Now, a lot of people would prefer me to go with a vibrant purple rather than using these undertones, you know, of multiple colors. But I don't know. I like the edge that they have a lot more. So that's just the way I feel about it, and the way I wanted to do the piece. I wanted it to have a little more grit to it than most of these would. So I thought it would be a cool way to do it. And It's coming along swimmingly. Swimmingly. See, it's got that nice tinted off purple to it, and I really, really like the look of that. And a lot of people will disagree with that, but that's okay too. Because, you know, at least it's not digital painted to where you guys, you know, if I went in and did it as a digital painting, you guys wouldn't get this airtime with me because of the fact that it wouldn't be the same at all, because I have to focus really deep on that, and I don't play around when I work with digital stuff. I just don't do a lot of talking, and it wouldn't be something I would be willing to use for a live, because it would just be dead air. It really would. You guys are going to have to tell me what you like the most about the Fantastic Four and what you don't like, because I love to hear everybody's opinion, but I don't want to have a debate about it. I mean, it's just name your favorite points, name your favorite character out of the four, you know, kind of thing. That would be awesome. But let's not get into a hard debate about it, because like I said, I don't want arguments on the timeline, and I don't want to have to delete all that stuff. So let's not do that, because I'm not one of those artists that loves to have, you know, drama on the timeline. I actually hate that. So please don't do that. But if you got a, you know, an interest or a favorite character or whatever, this will be something you'll want to watch out for, because this goes with a pretty good set of pieces that I've done many of so far, because the Fantastic Four stuff primarily wraps around this piece. I still have to do Airwalker and Fire Lord, but I think everybody else is done. I've done the Silver Surfer, I've done all the Fantastic Four except Johnny, so it's Johnny and Airwalker, and let's see, Johnny, Airwalker, and Fire Lord that are left. So we've just about got this entire set knocked out. That's coming along swimmingly. I appreciate it. Very cool. I'm trying to hold the table still so I don't shake it to death. And we've got this headpiece done. Cool deal. I'm going to try and color that a little bit different so it sets off just a little bit, so it doesn't completely look washed out, you know, all one piece. Gives a little texture and direction. But yeah, I wanted to do this sketchbook and pull it together and get you guys these pieces for part of the promotion for the new Catman book coming out, Catman Evolution and Lone Rider #1, Catman Evolution #4, and you guys are going to get some rewards. So hopefully everybody will dig it. It's been a long time coming, unfortunately, due to some stuff that I had to knock out like really quick due to projects. So, but got to stick to those commitments, you know. That's the way it works. Cool deal. Wow, that came along a lot better than I thought it was going to. Yeah, back to work, I know, man. Thanks for stopping by, bud. I appreciate it. I need to grab my flesh tone here. Here we go. Cool deal. Get in here and color up Galactus's face for these flesh pieces. He has these amazing facial expressions. The dude is so solid. I love drawing this guy's face because he is one of the most expressive characters in Marvel, next to probably the Hulk as far as the guys go, because he says so little and expresses so much. And he just always looks like he's grimacing and going to tear somebody apart. So I find that really, really cool. But he's got these really cool brown eyes going on. I thought they were blue originally, but they are not. He has brown eyes, which I found that really cool. Because a lot of times they just highlight them and they make them glow like pink or, you know, red or yellow, and that's it, man. They go in that way. I'm going to come down here and do the surfer real quick, because I'm going to do like I did on the other card for him. I know this is very abstract in the way these little figures are done, but nonetheless, it is the way it is. And gonna knock it out here, kiddies. So gonna draw in a couple of lines like that. Got him all fleshed up there. We're gonna use the cosmic power here, and I'm gonna make it a nice yellow. Whenever I get into this, I want him to look really charged up and shiny. So I'm going to use a lot of yellow in here, which normally wouldn't be that aggressive, but we are going to make it that way to use it for what we're doing here. Got to be careful with this one because I don't want to wash it out and make him look green or whatever, you know. Some people do that. They'll overshadow him and he'll come out like it's not the Silver Surfer, it's the Green Surfer. So you know, be cautious of that if you draw this character. Keep it very simple. Now I need this. I need the pink and I need the gray. There we go. I'm going to do this just like I did last time. So I'm going to go on the opposite side of that blue with this pink. So got that going on. I need to put some blue in that surfboard. And now I'll go in with this really cool gray right down the middle. Go between these color pockets and add that gray. So we've got that going on. Now this is a cosmic fight, so we can make him kind of shiny and, you know, different colors and variations of what he normally would be. We have that advantage because of all the lights and stuff going on. I love doing that. Okay, cool. There we go. Nice. All right. Now we're going to move into Johnny. So we're going to have to go with this yellow orange effect right here. Now the way you do this is you start around the center here and use this as a base coat, like a flat, all the way across every bit of it. And you can leave some white breaks in here to make it look like white hot spots. But what I like to do is go all the way out to the edge on this, because when he's in comics, you have to be very careful with this and make sure that it all goes the direction it's supposed to go. Now we've got him doing the flame thing. Be careful not to go into the wings here of Airwalker, because what I like to do, that's Airwalker's fist there, and what I like to do is I go in between here and map that out so we have all that put behind us. These are his wings here, and they're made of flame as well, so I don't try to do too much as far as that goes. And a lot of people will try to go in and make this white or, you know, blue, or just leave it open, and I don't want to do that. I don't like doing that. So I want to go all the way here. I mean, this is for you guys, so, you know, I want to go all the way here and map this bad boy out completely. Cool deal. Now we've got him all mapped out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and put him with a base coat towards the center. And everybody's like, he's red. Why are you mapping him out in yellow? And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm putting that core light on him by doing it that way. So now I'm going to come back in with the orange and the flame red. Hey, Jim, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm going to go in with this this orange around him. Okay. Now this is going to be cool because it's just going to be a warmer color right close to him. It's not going to go all the way out to the edge, and it's not going to get freaky. You know, don't go crazy with it when you're coloring him. If you draw the torch, always keep it close. You know, the Human Torch always has the color of flame close to him. The reason we do that is so that we get the heat gradient just like it's supposed to be. So, because it's going to get hotter closer to the edge because he's putting the energy out. And we're going to map this out, kind of not filling all this in. The reason I'm not filling it all in is because of the fact, you know, the way I'm coloring this is I want it to have that flame look. So I'm not coloring in the solid orange here, and I'm making kind of a scribbling motion so that we get the color of the flame here, and I want it to be raw so that it looks that way. That's the reason I'm leaving these gaps. It's like, you're not coloring it all in. So that's why. So we can do that flame buildup, see? Now, we have the red. It's going to go right in here. Because Johnny has that whole flame on thing going on. And I want him to be a bright red. I don't want him to be a dark red because I don't want it to be overwhelmed. I want it to look like the flame is engulfing him, so that's when we're going to have a lighter red, and it's not going to go full on looking like he's, you know, maroon or blood red or, you know, just whatever. People have a tendency to overwork him, and the thing is I want him to look like he's on fire and he's engulfed in that flame rather than having like he's generating it, rather than having him just be solid red and overworked. Now I'm mixing in just a little bit of red here and there around him to look like he's putting off that energy. I'm going to put it at the core here of the flow. So we have that going on just a little bit, not too much. Just kind of giving it that center flow so it looks like he passed through there. And just enough dark red here and there to show that he was zooming through. And there we go. We have Johnny Storm flying through the Human Torch. There you go. Let me see if I don't bump this off camera. Now we're going to go into doing Sue and Reed. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do the classic dark uniforms right here. We have Sue and Abstract again, very, very tiny. Not a lot of, unfortunately, not a lot of great detail here because I wanted to keep these very tiny and very small in perspective to Galactus so that I could get them all in. So like I said, not super detailed here. She's riding an invisible disc like she likes to do. I'm going to put Ben first. I'm going to go ahead and do his pants over here. I've got him in pants and not the classic Fantastic Four Speedo. I just like the movie version better with the pants. It's a great look. It diversifies it, makes it look a little more modern instead of him running around like a big rock ape, which you know, kind of makes it awkward. So, you know, now I'll go in here and get Reed's stuff taken care of. because they wanted him to be a big behemoth at one point, and it's just like, really? And he wasn't created to go against the Hulk, but he was instantly a force to be reckoned with against the Hulk, which kind of bothered me, because I was like, man, you've taken a great character and you've dumbed him down, and now you're going to make him go this route. But I wasn't around when it was originally created, and I didn't hold it against Stan Lee at all. At all, and I mean literally at all, because of the fact that I just didn't want to mess with that. I mean, it's a great character, and I've got him stretched out here to where he's doubled around. And let me see, there's the glove arm right there, so we have to make sure of where he's at, because I have to put a gray in some of this stuff, and I also have to flesh him out. Now he's got Terrax back here, and that's what you're seeing in this area here, which this is all Reed, except for that part right there, which will be Terrax's red boot, which I'm going to go ahead and pop that in so I don't lose track of it. Because this dude is very awkward in the way he's colored. And now we have that. We have the blue chest, the red chest. Now we need the purple for. This is going to be the purple stone look that he's going to have. The reason I'm doing it purple is so I can get that gradation in there and do that really cool purple blue stone look that he has, which I totally dig that look. I did the same thing on the face when I did the face card, so I wanted to go with this really dark blue for the metal in here under his chin. Now I need that that gray. I know I'm bouncing around a little bit, but that's okay, because I like to bounce around on this stuff so that I can give you guys different elements of the characters and different looks and whatnot. And in this version, I was going to color his armor a bright red, but instead I went over with that purple to darken it up just a little bit, but that's okay. So now we have Terrax right there, we have Reed Richards right there, Ben Grimm right there, and Sue right there. So now we need to get her hair involved right here. Then we're going to flesh her up. I'm going to get the dark gray instead of black to color in her boots and her gloves. And as you go along, if you change with these pencils, if you change, you can use that as an opportunity to fix it. If you go over, like I went over with the blue on her glove, or like the purple on his pants, or his tunic, and you can change that up. I see that happen a lot. I'm going to go ahead and get this one on Reed too, so I don't miss it. And I'm going to grab Ben's boot right here. Like I said, I love skipping around because when I have the color in hand, I like to skip around because of the fact that I get to change stuff up. We're going to do this disc real quick for Susan. Right there to show her powers there, also locking Firelord back there. Let me grab that flesh tone. We're going to do her face first. Just really quick. Boom, done deal. Going to get Reed right here. Now this is his neck and jaw. Right up in here. And then I'll grab that dark brown. I'll go with the lighter brown, why not? Because you really can't see The typical white hairs right there because his ear doesn't quite show up yet. Now, we've got those going on. I'm going to do Ben Grimm before I do Airwalker and Firelord. And the way you do Ben is like this, like I did with the card. You take a primary yellow-orange type of color as a base coat and just go straight over. These are fine lines so it won't hurt. He'll pop in really quick. Boom, done deal. All right. There we have him in that. Now we're going to take a little bit of orange, just a little bit, okay? Kind of go over the core spots like this. Now this can be a lot of work if you do a lot of detail because this is where it'll get tedious. I mean, you can see his brow and his jaw right there. I mean, the whole thing is there. Even though he's minuscule in this portrait, it is very, very cool. And I'm getting every little piece here. Cool. All right, now he's starting to show up. Then I'm going to grab that same light brown that I used on Reed's hair. I'm going to put just a little center touch, not much. I want to make sure it's working. That's why I hesitated. I don't want to go make him look like some other character, you know. He's like, what is that guy? He's the Thing. No, he's not. That's not Ben Grimm. That's some overworked, shadowed brown dude. So there we go. Cool deal. Now with that one, I'm going to put in Firelord's base coat would normally be yellow like Johnny's, but in this case, I'm not going to do that because he's inside of a sphere with Sue. So I'm going to color him in completely orange, and no, I'm not copying out because I'm going to use a brown. I'm using the orange as the primary, and I'm going to be doing a brown as the darker oranges. And the reason for that is because I want to make him look like he's inside of a bubble, so he's going to be shaded. So here we go. There we go. I want him to look like he's tinted. And the reason for that is because of the fact that he's going to be inside that bubble, so you're not going to see all of that. What you're going to get to see is this really cool Invisible Woman bubble. Now we'll tint right over that. And I'm going to leave a lot of white going through it. And the reason for that is because I want it to look transparent like this. So now that we've got that going on, we've got everybody peachy and happy here. You know, I always did too. Jim said he always wondered how when Ben went to the bathroom, how it worked. You know, it's one of those things that's just left open. So, I mean, it's completely open to whatever you interpret out of it. I mean, your guess is, you know, is just as good as anybody else's. I always found that fascinating that characters like this didn't make those transitions. You know, in the 2005 film, it was cool because Johnny would pick on him like they did in the comic books, and he would always ask, you know, he would always ask things like that. And in the comics, he asked those kind of things all the time. You know, how do you go to the bathroom? Where are your ears? You know, how does that work with your girlfriends? You know, that kind of stuff. And it's just, yeah, it's out there, man. It's out there. So I'm going to make this tunic a little bit lighter, and I'm doing this in two colors because of the fact that I didn't draw the line for his belt, which I wanted to do it more like a fabric thing. I'm going to go with this darker red for the wings. I just want to leave them open like a more organic flame. And I'm going to pop in a little yellow here on the edge. But yeah, I always found that fascinating too, and wondered that same exact thing many times about a lot of these characters. I like to do quizzes on them and figure out how they would work for that, because Stan Lee and all the other great creators at Marvel were always so cool about the science mapping up behind it, whether it was realistic science or not. They always wanted to know about the science, and the fun thing about that is that whenever it came out, they never explained how, you know, the characters would go to the restroom, or, you know, intimate relations would work or whatever, and it was always funny to check that stuff out. So let's see what we get out of that. Nice bright walking flame there. Cool deal. Going over here with the boots, the flames that he walks on, and the big yellow starburst crest, kind of a Nova thing. And the funny thing is, this dude was supposed to be, he was a Nova Corps member when he got transferred into the suit of becoming the Airwalker. I always thought that was really cool the way they did that. However, I found it really concerning that they would be able to change a Nova Corps member to an Airwalker as a herald for Galactus, or anybody else for that matter. I found that a little disturbing when I learned that that was his origin, but that's the way it went. So you can do a little history check on that, and it's really, really interesting how deep these characters go. Because, you know, I hear all the time, you know, you just go way too far into this stuff. Well, really, what are you interested in? Well, it's not like watching, you know, it's not like watching Supernatural or watching Buffy or watching this or watching that or watching this. And I'm like, really? How many seasons were you into that? Well, I was in for all 8 or all 12 or all 10 or, you know, whatever. Really? And how were those characters developed? Well, you know, this character was this way and this character was that way. And, you know, okay. You know, don't judge people for what they're interested in. Don't be so judgmental. I find that a lot, especially in comics. People are so judgmental about everything. And, you know, nobody's wrong, everybody's right. Don't be so judgmental. Don't go after stuff like that, because you may be the one that your finger's pointed at someday. You know what I mean? And you may be the hypocrite. So don't do that. So I find that fascinating when I see people do that. They just go crazy over this stuff, and they're just like, well, you know, you're such a geek, or you're such a nerd, or yeah, whatever. People are so quick to judge. So quick to judge. So now we have that going on. I am going to let you guys pick this. Check this out. What do you guys want to see on the background color here? What color should we color the background? I'll give you a couple of options here. Should we go with a bright green and blow it out of the water? Should we go with a pink and make it really bright? Should we go with a super light green, a blue? I don't want to contrast him with a big dark purple. I'm proud of being a nerd. Yeah, me too, man. I appreciate it. I think I'm going to go with a really, really bright, off red here, because this will, let me see how dark this is going to be, because I think this will work. Yeah, that'll make it pop. That'll make it pop. We'll do that. I want something that's going to contrast, but I don't want to have it rub this the wrong way and, you know, make it wash out. That would be a bummer. So I'm going to go with a nice edge here. I'm going to keep this open. You know, I thought about a bright pink, but I didn't want it to clash with the purples. I wanted to add something to it, but I don't want it to, like I said, clash with it to where you can't tell what's what. And that's the big thing that I'm hoping doesn't happen here. So I'm going open with the red. We're going to see how it goes. I might overlay it with some purple or some gray or something like that to kind of offset it a bit. But as of the moment, we're going to knock it out with this one here. Hopefully it'll work it out. And we'll be able to finish this up. It looks like it's going to work. I don't want it to go psychedelic on us, so, you know, I mean, as surreal as comics really are anyway, because of the fact that they don't make sense in practical use, you know. But I don't want to go totally off reservation with the core material and content. That would be weird. It's like, what are you doing, man? Okay. I'm really digging that. It's coming out really cool. And I didn't want to sharpen this sucker, and I'm going to have to anyway because I've already burnt the lid down. So you guys will have to bear with me in a moment whenever I do that. I'll keep it going as much as I can here. Yeah, I'm going to have to sharpen this up. Bear with me just a second. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, cool deal. I'm having a blast doing this set because this particular card is one of my favorite in the series, and I'm loving it. Really, really, really loving it. Awesome, awesome stuff. And in comics, I get to do pretty much anything I want. So, you know, this is one of those things where using someone else's property gives you that opportunity too, because I wouldn't get to normally use a Marvel property like this. And, you know, that's the cool thing about doing sketch cards is you get to do pretty much what you want. And within a sketchbook educational purpose, you know, for like drawing comics like I'm doing now, showing you guys how I would do these characters, I get to do that. So under normal circumstances, I wouldn't get to because of, you know, copyright infringement and all that good stuff and trademarks of characters and stuff. I get to build these out and show you guys how I would do them. And we get to add on all this cool time together and get to see how these things would turn out otherwise, you know. So it's like, do we get to keep the cards? Do we get to see the cards? Do we get to draw the cards? Do we get to color the cards? Yes, yes, yes. So let's see how we can finish this one up. And it looks like we are done. Yay! And under an hour, too. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, Jim. Mr. Jim O'Reilly popping on to say hello. That's so cool, man. This card is just awesome. And all it is two taped together. Now, that's the whole thing. Now, this will be the centerpiece for the cards that go around it. It's got the Fantastic Four and the 4 Heralds to go around it. It is a 9-piece set. This is the centerpiece. So, you guys, are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to leave this like this right now. I will blend this up later. But as for right now, I want to stay under that hour mark. Thank you so much for hanging out with me as always. You know what we do with this big rock every day that we have it. We prepare it for the next generation to make it a better place than we found it. And I hope this adds to that. So tomorrow, I will see you with probably Linkso from the Thundercats to get that out of the way. But I don't know yet. There may be some surprises in store. We'll see what goes on. But until then, thanks again for hanging out with me as always. Love the support from you guys. Thank you so much for this. And I will talk to you tomorrow. See ya.